This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
It's all about the mind. It's all about the brain. Today on Boomer Life, our friends from Neurokinetics are in studio in the persons of Dr. Philippe Souvestre, the founder of Neurokinetics, along with clinic manager Sonia Dale, and J.C. Gordon, who's their liaison and logistics director, one of the new guys on the team. And one of the new patients at Neurokinetics is Brian, who joins us from his home in the Kootenays. Brian, welcome to Boomer Life.
Hi, how's it going today?
Well, we're just fine, thank you. Very kind of you to make yourself available to us. Brian, you live and work up there in the Kootenays. You're in the mining business, and you had a rather traumatic event, an accident on the job a couple of years ago. Tell us a story, please.
I was training a new employee in one of the largest mining trucks in North America. And we were being loaded by the large $35 million shovel, and the shovel had a electrical malfunction and dropped the 125-ton bucket free-falled into the back of the mining truck I was in.
Oh, boy.
And so it bounced the front end of the truck 25 feet off the ground, and that's 1 million pounds.
Right.
So I didn't see it. There was no possible way to see the action coming to. So my body was limp, and I smashed my head on the window and tore all the muscles, basically from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head.
And were you hospitalized for a great deal of time after the accident?
I was only hospitalized for a day.
Wow.
But the pain, I was in extreme pain for over a year, of where I could barely even function.
Okay, and during that time, during your recuperation program, obviously this happened on the job. There would be all those workers' protocols that would be followed by your employer and all of that. So what sort of treatment packages were you presented with once you got out of the hospital? And I'm absolutely floored that you were only in the hospital for a day, but once you got out, clearly you were in a great deal of pain. So what did they offer you by way of treatment programs, Brian?
Nothing.
Really?
Yeah. Not one thing. I had one doctor in Creston write a prescription for massage, and the massage, I was so extremely injured over the how a massage could help me.
Right.
That it helped a small amount, but I ended up going to gave up on the doctors in Canada and went to Idaho.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I went to Idaho, and it helped out a little bit, but it was more chiropractic and physio and decompression.
Right.
And it just helped me for a short time.
Brian, were you receiving prescription medication during this process at all, or was that recommended? Was it recommended against that?
The way that the doctors in Canada treated me was to load me up on tramadol and other painkillers.
Right. Okay. And
excessive amounts, like 4 extra strength tramadols a day.
Oh my, okay.
And I guess they figured that was the only treatment available. So I ended up spending $20,000 in the United States in about 3 months, and ran out of money. And then I was put on to the doctor in Vancouver at Neurokinetics.
How did you find out about Neurokinetics, Brian, up there in the Kootenays? I'm just curious.
My union found out about them.
Okay, all right.
And after going to Neurokinetics and having them run their tests on me, I noticed an amazing change in just wearing their things that they put on my feet.
Interesting. So what sort of testing had you, well, I'm curious, and I'm looking for a comparison here, given that you did see a number of doctors in both Canada and the United States. What's the testing procedures that you went through at Neurokinetics, Brian? Were they similar to any you'd had before, or was this really new to you?
My doctor in Creston didn't even examine me. He just put me right on tramadol. And the doctors in the U.S. gave me a pretty detailed exam.
Right.
But the examination and tests that I had at Neurokinetics was very extensive and very detailed, and what I would have expected before I had an accident, from anyone to do.
Right.
So they were incredible.
Okay, and so Brian, in addition to being, I assume that the pain is still there, given that you've just started with Neurokinetics and there's a whole program of rehabilitation and therapy underway. But it sounds like already you're pretty confident that you're going to get better.
Absolutely. I could tell that they were confident in their treatment plan, and also I noticed from the tests that they did run on me that I did feel quite a bit better with my balance and dizziness and my headache, and I know that their treatment plan could help me out tremendously.
In the process of going through those tests and having a conversation with Dr. Philippe, did you find out, was the doctor able to tell you to some extent what had happened to you and why you were feeling as messed up as you are and why you hurt so badly? Was there an explanation offered, Brian?
Yes, absolutely, and it really helped me, because when you go to doctors that don't know what they're doing,
right,
they make you feel like you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They make you feel like you're a crazy person, and it doesn't help you out a bit when all they do is sign you a prescription for tramadol and say, well, we'll see you in 3 weeks. That's no way to get better.
Right. So now you've had your first, Sonia's just nodding vigorously here because she's met you and she's put you through, is it assessment 1, yes. Sonia, of 3, right?
Level 1, yes.
Level 1 yes. Assessment. And so you're expecting Brian to return sometime soon?
Soon, yes.
For rounds 2 and 3.
Yes, that's correct.
So, Brian, you got to be looking forward to this. Hope, a big, bright light at the end of the tunnel. Finally, eh?
It's just like Christmas morning.
Well, I wish you considerable success with Dr. Philippe. I know you're in very capable hands, Brian. And thank you very much for joining us today on Boomer Life to give us a little background on your story. And thumbs up to you. Continued success.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
There's Brian in the Kootenays in Creston this morning. Now he's just started with Neurokinetics, but Dr. Philippe, another example of someone who got drugs. I went through this incredible. The description of what happened to him in that accident. Holy cow. You described our first guest, JC, as a walking miracle. Well, this guy's not too far behind. Holy cow.
We're getting in there, Sterling, absolutely. And what Brian was able to articulate so nicely is what our initial evaluation is able to do.
Right.
What we do at stage 1 with everybody is measure to what degree we're going to be able to help them, and even if we're going to be able to help them.
Sure,
and in Brian's case, he had just a glimpse, and when I mean a glimpse, I mean 2 or 3 minutes of what our potential is, and that 2 or 3 minutes was able to help him with his balance, help him with his headaches, and that's what we do. What Dr. Philippe was doing was optimizing the brain and see if he had the potential to have his brain optimized, which he was able to do.
Okay.
And that's always the first step with anybody new who calls us up. Excuse me. We're able to measure to determine if we are going to be able to help to optimize the brain.
Dr. Philippe, we got to take a break, but the suspense is killing me. Brian said he started to feel better after that first assessment and going through those tests that JC just talked about. He said you gave him something for his feet and it made him feel better almost immediately. What did you give him?
Our assessment methodology includes sensitization, as we call it, which
Okay.
means stimulating some brain controls, which are sensorimotor and cognitive for those who are interested in the details. And basically it boils down to assess the capability to respond and address any type of relevant stimulation that is specific to these particular controls.
Okay. So you were able to help him with his balance. By the sounds of it, that's a biggie for all of us, of course.
And the beauty of this expertise, which fascinated me over the past 3 decades, is that we have that capability to foresee how much again a patient can benefit from any relevant treatment program we have.
Right.
Before even initiating the treatment.
Right. And you were saying, JC, that part of the assessment process, and Sonia's described this to us in the past too, is that you find out how much this person can be helped. Have you ever run into someone whom you've had to say, I don't think I can help this person?
Yes, it does happen.
It does?
It does.
Interesting.
You know, I'm not God is probably a good thing.
It probably is. It probably is. But even then, I'm sure that it must have been a shocking moment for all, right?
It is tough.
Right.
But we are not without resource, even in these tragic cases, because we have an understanding of what happened on a detailed fashion, and to the extent nobody else has so far. And we are able to come up with directions, recommendations,
right.
and connect those patients with the relevant means to help them.
Right. And in this case of Brian, one meeting, he's been there only for a couple of hours, and already he knows or has a really strong sense, JC, of what's wrong with him. And again, that's empowering. If you have an understanding of what's going on, it makes it a whole lot easier to deal with already, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It turns on the hope light.
That's right.
In everybody, Sterling.
Okay. Yeah. Our friends from Neurokinetics with lots more on Boomer Life coming right up after this.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.